Almost here, Election Day. For candidates, it's the final push for your vote.
Make sure to vote, brother. God bless you.
It's like flipping a coin to decide who to vote for now, and it's unfortunate, but it's unless you get educated, it's very, very difficult.
We'll check in with voters. Plus, the city of Brampton says it's good to go for Election Day after concerns about potential staffing shortages at voting locations.
They didn't deserve to die the way that they did. They deserve to live a happy retirement alongside their grandchildren.
1 year later, a family who lost their parents and grandparents in a terrible crash renews their calls for safer streets. And happy Diwali. The Festival of Lights is underway. We'll take you to a celebration in Brampton.
This is CBC Late Night News.
The LRT on Eglinton shouldn't be almost a decade later.
Construction, man. Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Wait, where? You see construction?
I mean.
Literally behind you.
It's crazy. There's detours all over the place. You never know where the bus is getting on or getting off. It's crazy.
I usually walk because whenever I've tried to take a transit, I'm always late for class because it gets delayed. And then even the trams are mostly delayed here. So yeah, I prefer walking around.
Thanks for joining us. We are just hours away now until polls open in municipal elections across the province. Meg Roberts kicks off our coverage tonight with a look at the final push. Plus, the city of Brampton says it does have enough staff ready for tomorrow, despite some concern earlier in the day.
Are you planning on voting on Monday?
Yes, I am. On election eve, candidates running in Spadina, Fort York doing what they can today so people check off that ballot for them tomorrow.
The top issue for me is affordability in the city of Toronto. In a city like ours, we should have everything that we need to thrive. Affordable housing, reliable green transit on safe roads, a community infrastructure, schools, childcare, and good jobs.
I just want to solve very specific local issues. I want to solve traffic. I know we have the technology for it.
However important the issues, it's also about encouraging people to go to the polls. Advanced polling is down 7% since the last election and 30% since 2014 in Toronto.
They're tired of people shoving flyers in your doors. They're tired of people just knocking on your doors and just talking smack, with all due respect.
This professor of politics says voter fatigue is a reason for low voter turnout, along with an election that to the average voter doesn't appear to be competitive.
And that becomes a real problem if the public gets detached from the electoral system. We end up with governments that really can't claim that they've got a legitimacy and a mandate to govern.
He says the lack of engagement affects every aspect of municipal elections, from fewer candidates throwing their names in the ring to the number of citizens signing up to work at polling stations. The city of Brampton sending this email out to staff today, less than 24 hours before the election, saying there's been an unprecedented number of election worker resignations and training no-shows, and was seeking at least 150 city staff to come forward.
What does that all suggest for tomorrow? A really low voter turnout, which is really a problem.
The city of Brampton said there's been an overwhelmingly positive response from staff after sending that email out, and it said it's prepared to deliver tomorrow's election. However, mayoral candidate Nikki Kaur sending a statement out today saying her team is shocked and dismayed at the lack of organization. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Brampton.
And coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll hear more about CBC's election coverage tomorrow. Chris Glover joins us to talk about his show and how it will be different from what you've seen in years past. Well, a book of condolences will be available to sign in Scarborough and at City Hall in memory of Toronto City Councillor Cynthia Lai. She died on Friday, just days before the election. The fierce community leader was running for re-election in Scarborough North. The books will be at the Scarborough Civic Centre and City Hall until October 28th. Tomorrow's ballots will still have Lai's name on them. City officials say any votes cast for her will be invalid. 1 year after losing two loved ones in a terrifying chain reaction crash, a family is once again renewing calls for safer streets. Delia Ashry met with them today.
They didn't deserve to die the way that they did.
An emotional and gut-wrenching day for Ashley Avila. 1 year ago, Avila went from planning her youngest son's 3rd birthday to planning her parents' funeral instead. Now, flowers and candles in memory of her parents.
They deserve to live a happy retirement alongside their grandchildren and just love in their elderly ages, and they got that ripped away from them.
Her parents died in a chain reaction crash at this T intersection on Parkside Drive and Spring Road. But this isn't the only tragic accident. September 2018, 45-year-old Oliver Sabater died in a motorcycle collision. His daughter attended today's memorial. The two women united by their grief.
There's so many speeding cars on this street, and until it's designed so that cars can't go at those speeds, it's just going to continue.
Since these accidents, the speed limit in the area has been reduced from 50 to 40 kilometers an hour. This is one of 50 photo radars installed in safety zones across the city. Since September, over 43,000 speeding tickets were issued for the months of June and July. According to data from City of Toronto, the Parkside South and Algonquin camera has made up more than 10% of those tickets issued. City Councillor for the area, Gord Perks, made an appearance, one that some didn't appreciate.
You're politicizing this, and shame on you.
Now, we just heard someone come up to you and say that you're politicizing this moment because, election is tomorrow. How would you like to respond to that?
People are entitled to be angry. They should be angry. More needs to be done.
While it's bumper-to-bumper traffic here along Parkside Drive today, residents of the area tell me people are usually seen speeding across this road to merge onto the lakeshore. And although photo radar camera has been added to the area and a sign that says to slow down, residents of the area tell me that's just not enough.
To all the city councillors that are here, change needs to be done. We need change that's going to prevent somebody from speeding now. And whether it's speed bumps in the meantime, but really a redesign of Parkside needs to be done.
City Council has authorized the addition of 25 more photo radar cameras, which brings up the total to 75. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Flights are once again taking off and landing at Billy Bishop Airport. You saw it here first last night. The airport was shut down for hours while police investigated a suspicious package. 2 people were taken into custody but have since been released without facing charges. On Saturday afternoon, police say a device was found on a bike parked near the ferry terminal. They believed it could have been some kind of explosive device. Then after midnight, police say they had conducted a controlled detonation of the device. Earlier in the day, the airport had scheduled a routine full-scale emergency preparedness exercise with police, paramedics, and airport staff all taking part. Police say the incident with the bike was not related to the exercise. We now know the identity of a 28-year-old man who was shot and killed in Toronto this weekend. Police say Peter Alexandros Matamenos was shot on Queen Street near Portland just before 1 a.m. on Saturday. Multiple shots were fired, and bullet holes could be seen at a nearby fast food restaurant. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. For those commuting downtown Toronto, you may want to carve out some extra time. Starting tomorrow, the city is kicking off some major construction. Adelaide between Parliament and Bathurst will be closed in sections until the spring. The city says it's for infrastructure upgrades and to replace TTC streetcar tracks ahead of the construction of the Ontario line. Work is expected to be done by spring 2023. Sophia is here with our first look at the forecast. This was a weekend that saw you in flip-flops and camping outside with the kids.
Yeah, we're going to do it tomorrow night as well. It's going to be great.
Good for you.
Our overnight temperatures tomorrow and the next night are going to be where our daytime highs should normally be. So I challenge you all, backyard campouts, flip-flop shorts, and plenty of chances for some sunbathing. I actually wanted to start off with this big national comparison because look at that. Tons of cold in the west coast and this big ridge of high pressure that is making for the backyard campouts. goes all the way up to northern Ontario. Shannon, we were talking about the mid-teens, all the way up to places like Timmins and Moosonee, so we'll take it while we can, right? It's a bit of a late season flavor and flirting with the mid-teens and even the 20s. It's this southerly flow. Our nighttime temperatures should be about 3 degrees. We're in the upper single digits. It's just fantastic. These are the stats we love to go over. Monday, plenty of sunshine, little cooler though for anybody near those lake shores. 20s down to the south and up along the Huron shores. It continues for Tuesday and Monday overnight. Tuesday though, some increasing clouds. It's all because of this system that will come in on Wednesday and eventually, Shannon, take us back down to earth and maybe make for the winter jackets as opposed to the flip-flops. But great weather to go out and decorate for Halloween like I did today. I know you've been busy doing that.
Oh yeah.
And head out to the pumpkin patches and still see some of the leaves on the trees. We passed the peak, but it's still lovely.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take it while we can. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome. I'll tell you about the stormy weather coming up.
Oh, right. Okay. Welcome back. After weeks of campaigning, it all comes down to tomorrow for candidates in civic elections. Chris Glover is hosting CBC Toronto's election special. We met up to hear about his show and some of the races he and the team will be watching.
Let's start in Vaughan.
Okay.
Because with all of these races that we're paying closest attention to, basically the theme is failed provincial candidates who are taking a stab at municipal politics in a mayoral capacity. So first we'll start with Vaughan, and that's Stephen Del Duca. Of course, he just lost terribly in June for the Liberals. He was the Liberal leader in the provincial election. They did not do well again in this provincial election, and he also lost his own seat to be MPP in Vaughan. Now he thinks he can run for mayor, and he has been running a very well-organized campaign. He also picked up a major endorsement, and that is outgoing, very popular mayor Maurizio Bevilacqua. He has been elected for 12 years as mayor, 22 years before that as MP. And so with his support behind Del Duca, a lot of people are saying he has that all locked up, but we'll be watching that race closely. Also in Hamilton, running to be the mayor of Hamilton is Andrea Horvath, another name that our audience will know very well. Of course, she ran for the NDP 4 times to be the premier of the province, lost again in June, finally stepped aside, and she has been a long-time MPP in Hamilton, now trying to take on the mayor's seat. She's facing off against some pretty well-known councillors and other people in town, so she could be in for a tight race. We'll be watching that. And then finally, I would highlight Patrick Brown in Brampton. He is running for re-election there, already the incumbent mayor, but he, of course, was the former PC leader in Ontario. He also just recently tried to be the federal Conservative leader, failed at that, and now he is running for re-election again in Brampton. A fascinating race to watch because, of course, we know that there the council is just so divided, about half supporting Brown, half not, when council was dissolved, and now we'll have to see what happens with that race and with the rest of council in Brampton. We actually have Megan Fitzpatrick, who's going to be there on election night paying close attention to that race for us.
I feel like this conversation has been a little preview of what to expect on Monday night. Your election special is going to just look and feel different, which is so exciting.
I really hope so. I mean, that is our plan. That is our hope. We're going to have Farah Morelli tracking all of these results just like a traditional election show would, tracking the wards, looking to those mayoral races that I talked about. But the vibe and the feeling that we're really going for is kind of like a late night chat show. So we're really hoping that we can have those results, but also make it a show about solutions, about problems, about things that are working in the city, things that are not working in the city. We have a lot of really smart, young, engaged people who are going to be a part of this program with us, and they're going to be giving their ideas for what they think isn't working and how they could be improved. And so that's really going to be the goal, to kind of slow things down and take a bit of a pulse check on this city and the maybe love-hate relationship that we have with it and how to improve it.
Right, and I think it is an opportunity to have these conversations. What does our future look like here? What are some of the issues you're going to dig into?
Well, the number one issue that we'll likely be talking about that you and I think, complain about the most, and that is affordability.
Yes.
When I've been walking around talking with people, that's kind of the number one issue that a lot of folks are talking about, affordability and housing in particular. How do I pay for my rent? How do I pay for my mortgage? Things just seem to be going up and up and up. So we'll be talking around some strategies with that, as well as urban planning issues. Transit and travel is another one of the number one things that I hear from so many people, whether or not it's public transit, biking. I mean, I'm in this position where I am a pedestrian, I'm a biker, I'm a driver. I'm a transit user. I do it all, like so many of us in Toronto. And so many of us know what is working and what is not working when it comes to transit and travel. So we're going to be dealing with those problems and looking at maybe some solutions to ease this congestion, to end this gridlock. What is John Tory pitching? What are some of the other mayoral candidates pitching here in Toronto? How can that be better? So we'll be looking at some of those kind of key issues as we tackle election night.
So excited for that. Chris and the team were rehearsing today. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night on election night for the special CBC Toronto presentation hosted by Chris there. It starts at 7:45. You can live stream it by visiting cbc.ca/Toronto or find it on our Facebook page or CBC Gem. Now also at 7:45, you can tune into your local CBC Radio 1 station. Jill Dempsey has you covered there. She's hosting a CBC Radio special presentation. It will also be streaming live on the CBC Listen app. Welcome back. This next story is about a Toronto dad and a group of parents coming together to make a difference for their kids and community. As Talia Ricci shows us, they realized there was a gap in care for young adults with physical disabilities and who are medically complex. So they've created a much-needed day program.
Because they all have a story to tell and they all want to participate. And our job is to figure out how to help them engage the best and have us listen.
This is what Mark DePrato wanted for his son Dean and other adults who have disabilities. You did it! A place where they could continue learning, growing, and thriving after they turned 21.
Should we show them one of your favorite pictures?
But when that birthday was coming up a few years ago, a space like this didn't really exist.
We realized that these kids, when they turn 21, they fall off a cliff, and they really didn't have a landing space for them to get to make sure that everything was going to be okay for them in terms of day programming, having interactions, being out of the home, and living a really meaningful life.
In response, DePrato, alongside other parents, created Let's Grow Learning and Living Hub, a Midtown Toronto day program designed specifically for complex developmental and physically disabled adults.
When we opened the doors, we had 4 team members with us, and now we're a year later, and I think we're at 12. Whether it be art therapy or music therapy or any kind of physical fun work they do, from the day we opened to a year later, it's evolving exactly as we imagined it 2 years ago.
The Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services says last year it released a long-term plan to continue improving services for people with developmental disabilities, and that it's working to make the system more responsive to individual needs. But DePrato, along with other families, have been calling for more programming for adults with disabilities. They say the current system doesn't meet the needs of families or ensure individuals continue having meaningful social interactions and purpose after high school.
That's the number one reason why I'm here, is to create that sense of community and provide those opportunities for connection between the participants and other individuals in their age group in the community. Another takeaway from a program like this is decreasing those feelings of unworthiness and those decreasing feelings of abandonment and isolation and loneliness.
And that's been the most fulfilling part of this journey for DePrato, who plans to continue growing this space he helped build.
We see the excitement on their faces every day, and it's really super gratifying. And we just know that we're just going to keep building it from here.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
It may be October, but Christmas can't come soon enough for some. This weekend, carols, food, and decorations brought the holiday spirit to Scarborough at the first Filipino Christmas market of the season.
Christmas celebrates in the Philippines starts September. Of course, up to January 6th, Feast of the Epiphany.
I put this event together is to actually help our small businesses drum up some sales in time for Christmas.
There was live entertainment, local goods, and tons of food. The Society of Philippine Artists, Recreation and Community organized the event, and if you missed it, no worries. Organizers say due to big demand, they'll be back for another Christmas market on December 8th. I say bring
Never
it
too
on.
early.
Yes,
Never too early
right?
for Christmas. What is it? 10 more weekends?
I know.
I think
Oh my
I'm doing the
gosh.
math in my head. That's
When
we
you put
gotta
it that
start
way.
going.
Yes, I know.
Not-
First Halloween, but then Christmas. I'm ready. Let's
Making
do it.
my Christmas list as we speak. We'll go shopping together, Shannon.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like Christmas, kind of like when you're in Florida and there's Christmas with palm trees. That's sort of how you're going to feel for the next few days, or if you're getting ready for Halloween. Beautiful, balmy stretch of weather. But do you see something that's missing? It's a lack of rainfall. We will get a little bit, though, when a cold front comes in midweek this upcoming work week and kind of takes us off this really nice warm cliff that we are having. It has been super dry, though, and we need some storms to come through. We've only had about 23 millimeters of rain since the 1st of October. The only other drier October period was back in 2004, where throughout the whole month we only got about 19 millimeters of rain. So we're on track, maybe, to be pretty close to that. I wanted to show you this again. At 11:28 right now, we're at our daytime high where we should normally be throughout the afternoon high. Plenty of sunshine for your Monday morning. It continues with clear conditions right into Monday overnight. Balmy, double digits. Tuesday, though, that cloud is incoming, and it's because of this cold front that will work its way through. Sometime on Wednesday, you'll still squeak out quite a bit of sunshine, but then the overnight low becomes the daytime high. Still not a lot of rain, though, as we head into Halloween weekend, so it's nice that it's quite dry. And I have to mention, we still haven't had our first frost. Usually it comes around October the 16th, so we're fashionably late, which is okay.
Hey, that's totally fine. I think you guys are so brave for camping outside.
You should do it. We'll swap notes. It actually wasn't that cold, I gotta say. It was lovely,
Okay.
lots of blankets.
It's cozy.
Lots of flashlights. It is. It's quite nice. And the fall leaves made a lot of crinkling sounds, too.
There you go. Lots of fun for the kids. Thanks so much, Sophia.
See you next week, everyone.
That is our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. But before we go, we want to take you inside an event in Brampton to celebrate Diwali. The community getting together to celebrate the Festival of Lights. You can bet there was tons of music, food, local vendors, and entertainment too. We hope you have a great night, everyone. We're going to see you again tomorrow night at 6. Big day tomorrow, Election Day. We'll see you then.